would need cheaper labor, quicker production of technology. Because what is globalization? Has anybody heard of that term before? What is globalization?
It's the accumulation of multiple economies into one global economy, as well as policies for typical government systems.
Right, it's policies that allow, both economic and political policies, that allow us to become interconnected. That we live in a world now where states are reliant upon one another. That our economies are reliant upon one another in order to achieve wealth and prosperity. Because that's what capitalism is all about. Capitalism is about individuals making choices in the market in order to create wealth for themselves. Because we live in a capitalistic society, we have the choice of the type of goods that we buy, the type of services that we have. And what happens if there are bad choices when it comes to particular goods or services? What's that? Everyone can be affected, but how are we affected? What do we do? You stop buying them. So let's say that I don't like Dell computers, that I think Dell computers are a waste of money, which I think they are. I'm going to buy an Apple because they have a sleek new design that seems to work relatively well. I've had the same MacBook since 2006. It's still working, despite a slight hiccup 2 years ago. It's still working. That's the longest I've ever owned a computer that's actually worked. That's an example of a free market, that there are goods and services available, and you as an individual can make the choice. Because the United States won World War II and was the largest superpower, we had the ability to decide how the political and economic systems in our world would be organized. We believed politically and economically that liberalism and capitalism were the right way to organize life, politically and economically. And we've gotten a lot of blowback as a result of that. And a lot of good things have happened too. But in the 21st century, in this globalized world, we are now seeing these small power, or these small countries that have now, and some of them are big countries with huge populations, they are now able to have an influence in, maybe not the global world, but because we are interconnected with technology and communication, trade, they're able to influence economics and politics. India, for example, China, for example. These BRIC countries are challenging U.S. hegemony. And right now, since the Obama administration, we've been dealing with the repercussions of this altering international system that we're living in. And it's still yet to be seen what could happen. Donald Trump actually could make America great again. He could also take us down the shitter. That's still up for debate. My point is that it's more than just a president. What it is, it's these ideologies. That you have governments who have decided that these particular ideologies are the right way that the world should be governed. But as we're seeing, because our world is so conflictual, is that we are seeing challenges to that. We're seeing the rise of populism. We're seeing individuals saying that our jobs are being taken away. Talk to someone in Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, Minnesota, or Iowa, Ohio, those who voted for Donald Trump. They voted for this man because he represents a conservative viewpoint of the world that globalization is a bad thing. That the loss of American jobs is what is wrong with America. That people of color are what's wrong with America. And what Democrats failed to do in the election is they failed to speak to groups on the right. To say that, what has actually happened might actually be a good thing. And so for political science, what we often have to wrestle with domestically is the impact of not only what the United States is doing internationally, but what other states are doing in response to us. In almost any class you take, if you take another political science class, a lot of it will be about what are the reactions domestically, both here in the United States, but but also internationally, to U.S. policy. And so these policies were developed all the way back in the 17 and 1800s. And they are continuing to affect how the world interacts today. Are there any questions about any of this? Yes?
Can you go over neoliberalism?
Sure. And I'll go more into it definitely again in a couple weeks. But in terms of economics, liberalism was referring to the idea of individuals. It's taking that political ideology. It says individuals are important. That laissez-faire capitalism is good. Laissez-faire means the invisible hand. So that means that individuals' choices and whether or not they buy something, that the market will decide what succeeds and what fails as part of capitalism. For neoliberalism in the 1990s, what they were doing is they were creating rules that said, in order to be a part or to get loans, for instance, from the World Trade Organization, you must sign up for these free trade rules. You must sign up for a free trade agreement. You must lower your tariffs. You must reform your economic system to be capitalistic. Neoliberalism says multinational corporations and individuals are important actors and that the state must promote free trade in order to ensure that wealth is actually created. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Yes.
On the quiz, one of the questions was like the Cold War, and then like one of the answers was about China, and one was about Korea, and then one was like, I don't know, but it was confusing. So do you know what the answer to that was?
I don't remember the question offhand. It was 5 years ago that I wrote that question, so I'll have to. I'll go back. Did you email me about it?
No, but it's just like it's literally the time.
You emailed me about it? Okay, I will check what is on there, and if I find that the answer on there is wrong, then I'll give everybody.
You didn't tell me about this. I'm just kidding. Yeah.